Purposelessness.
Purposelessness.
I am Carl. I am an addict alcoholic and among many other things that I use to define myself. And my sobriety date is August 22nd, 2014. Still holding. So FYI.
Woo! I'm
And
Lindsey.
you are?
I'm Lindsey. I'm an alcoholic and a chicken tender. And my sobriety date is September 6th, 2015.
And I am also a sadomasochist.
I'm just going to keep wooing everything you say today.
All right. It's a woo day. All right. So this is SoberPod.
Soberpod.com. Yeah, SoberPod, keep it authentic, no facades. If it's real, then you know it's ours. Welcome.
Woo!
SoberPod is a podcast dedicated to the idea that one addict or alcoholic helping another is crucial to building a life in recovery. Same goes for chicken tenders. And you can join us this season as we read from our books, 366 Effing Days Sober, which is like, if you're watching the video, it's one of these books. Or if you are so inclined to get Lindsey's book, it is The Spirit Vigilante or Spirit Vigilante. You can get that by going to thespiritvigilante.com. And if you're watching your video, you can see hers too. And as always, don't forget to stay active, stay sober, yada, 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 et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Fill it out in triplicate and have it on my desk by the morning. So
trust and verify.
So, Lindsey, what are we doing here today on this beautiful Monday morning?
Well, I really liked your reflection today from your book on October 20th. So do you want me to start by reading that, or did you want to give any kind of high-level view?
Dude, if you want to go right into it, that would be awesome.
Okay.
And then if you have something to share on it, you could by all means go for it. So this is kind of like what a meeting would be like if this book was used as a meeting prompter, right?
I love that. It should be.
Yeah. Go for it.
Bring that to the Corona Club.
Yeah, get it on.
Okay, October 20th. Have you found your purpose yet? For my entire life, up to the age of 42, I had no purpose whatsoever. I drifted from job to job, hoping to find it in the world of work. After all, a lot of people seem to find their purpose there. Nope, I did not find my purpose there. I thought I would find it eventually. I had no idea I would find it in the halls and rooms of recovery. My sponsor, John Jay, showed me how to be fit for purpose. I watched and learned what it meant to fit ourselves to be of maximum service to God and the people about us. Seeing my sponsor utilize his talents in his own way showed me that I too could be fit for purpose and look for ways to be of maximum service to others. It's not easy. I'm still very selfish and self-centered at times. I get lazy or complacent. I get depressed or disheartened. And some days I just don't effing feel, that was trying to bleep myself out. Don't effing feel like doing it. But without fail, as I stay the course, I find myself stepping into the life that my higher power has provided me. And I act with as much virtue as I can muster. That is my purpose today. Reflections. What is my purpose today? What talents can I bring to the people and world around me? Daily challenge. Define your purpose.
Define your porpoise.
Define your purpose.
It's Flipper. It's faster than light.
We're doing everything we can to not talk about purpose.
Yeah, exactly. So,
when you hear that word, like purpose, when you hear that word, what do you feel, or what comes to you, or would you even have a way to define? Someone looked you in the eye and said, "What's your purpose, Carl?" How would you answer that question?
Before or after recovery? Today?
Whenever.
Yeah, today it is. I actually came up with almost like a mission statement, right?
Okay.
Yeah, so it is. It's kind of like if you were to ask me my purpose, I would pull out the blanket statement that I've been using for probably like the last 7-8 years, which is, it is my job, and it comes directly from that reading, right? Mm-hmm. It's my job to use my talents to their maximum ability to affect a maximum amount of people in a positive way. That's it. Pretty simple, right? So that's why, like, I ask, the daily challenge to define your purpose. That's probably what I did before I wrote this book. You know what I mean? Like, that was like, that gave me the ability. And then again, that's probably the reason why I even wrote the book, right? Because I'm like, well, what are my talents, right? Like, I can produce a book. I have all the skills and abilities, and I have a computer, and I know how to write, and I, how to design the covers and put it all together and put it all, self-publish. I could do all that. Yay. Right. So that, and I look at the impact that might have, man, so far I've sold over 500 books. Do you know, so when you're self-publishing, that doesn't happen in 2-3 years for some people. Like, it's hard to just sell 100. Right? Yeah. So that's kind of a cool deal there too.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So, yeah. So, but who's counting? So, but that's kind of the point, right? It's like, so just, and then the other thing is to look at that. For me, was really difficult because I come from a place of low self-esteem, and I don't really have a lot of value to myself or what I provide or how I offer it. No matter what I do, it's never good enough. So that's kind of always big part of the problem. So I have to hear in that definition, which is hard for me to hear, is that I have talents, right? Like, it's kind of like, and that, some of them were, definitely bestowed upon me by whatever creator of the universe, kind of a thing. And then others I've worked really hard for. But you know what? The fact is I do have talents, right? And that's always a hard thing for me to kind of roll up on and be like, yeah, I got talents, bitches.
I know. I know.
So I and then again, I think one of the things when it goes along with that is I have all these things in my ability. The only thing that I really lack most of the time, which is probably currently, is the motivation or the drive or the desire at the moment to do anything with it. I've been again, that goes into procrastination and all my other problems. But Lindsey, what do you think? What about yourself? What do you think about your purpose? And when you hear that word, what does it do for you?
It used to scare the F out of me when I would
bleep,
hear it. Bleep. I couldn't even go there in my mind. I mean, no one.
What scared you out of it? What was the
and I'm talking about pre-sobriety and sometimes in sobriety, but just I knew I wasn't living anything close to anybody's purpose. So, and that pained me so much because I knew deep down there was something greater, but on a day-to-day basis, I knew I wasn't doing it. And that guilt and shame just built up,
Before sobriety, I didn't have any of that either. I want to point that out. That's what the half of that reading is, right? It's it's all part of that. It's just you just feel like you're lost. My sponsor, John, used to always say he never lived more one day at a time than when he was drinking and using. And how ironic that we sit here and lean on that in recovery rooms, no, one day at a time, and then it's he never lived more one day at a time than when he was drinking. He was just bouncing off the walls like a pinball machine, ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
It didn't matter, right? It's none of that mattered. That's how I felt about all this, as much as I was involved with work and my skills, quote unquote, trying to upgrade and be a part of that whatever environment. I just it was pointless and just it had no depth. It had no weight. It had nothing. So I mean, it's still I use it to get a job and to pay bills and I use all those skills to do all that stuff. But ultimately, it's like they say, when I die, I'm not going to look back and go, or when I'm dying, I'm not going to look back and go, I wish I would have worked harder. I wish I would have, spent more time at the office,
right.
Whatever. So your book talks about at the very beginning of the Ascend chapter, it says it's time to level up. It sounds really ominous. Sounds really like broicism to me. Hey, bro, you gonna level up, bro?
Yeah, my starting to trigger your toxic masculinity.
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
That sounds too alpha.
Hey, bro, you need to level up, man.
Level up. 24/7. No off days.
So tell me, what was that? What's the beginning of that like? Actually, read it. Can you read like your
Sure,
first couple?
sure. So this is in my book called Spirit Vigilante, and the beginning of this chapter starts as Carl so eloquently recited. It's time to level up. When the anxiety of purpose, oh no, I have no problem saying this word until you had a problem saying
Purposelessness.
Anonymity. Okay. When the anxiety of purposelessness initially washed over me, the discomfort was more ego-based than anything else. I wanted to relieve my pain and anguish. I wanted to feel better about myself. It had nothing to do with anyone else. I just wanted to feel like my life meant more than how I spent my days. Luckily, that feeling is enough to know that you are being called by something greater. I begged and begged the universe to please reveal my purpose to me, as if one day a lightning bolt would strike me out of nowhere, making the path ahead clear and tidy, a manual that was easy to follow. I didn't understand that this difficult and painful journey of trying to find my purpose will ultimately become my purpose. Every twist and turn matters. Nothing is wasted. Everything we go through is necessary to bring us to who and what we are today. You are given opportunity after opportunity to meet yourself on a level you may never had visited, or a realm you wouldn't otherwise explore. And then I go on to talking about truth and passion and, when you're in alignment with the universe. But yeah, I guess this whole chapter is really centered around shifting from the me to, I guess, the we, and to unity and community. So like I said, I was trying to reveal my purpose to myself for my comfort, for my dignity, for my acclaim, so I could feel like I belong here. And since then, I've shifted to, like you said, how can I be of service? And that has helped me a lot more than sitting in isolation in my room trying to figure out where I fit into this grand plan, So I think, go ahead.
I think there is we talk about service, but I think a lot of people coming from dysfunction, or I know I did, I view it as servile almost, right? There's especially a mode for me where I'm still seeking self. I just don't know it. I'm seeking admiration, or I'm seeking accolades. I'm seeking, attaboys and that kind of stuff. And then the other thing, so I want to make sure that we have a clear distinction between being like self-seeking and service, right? Because when I'm couching it in self-seek or service, I'm still I can still operate from a point of self, right? Which is really fucking different. So that's why I like to say a maximum service, right? Because it is not necessarily, it reminds me it's not, it's not like, oh, I'm of service. Like, oh, well, no, you kissing ass and getting accolades and attaboys is not fucking service, all right? That's you trying to win favor with somebody else. So fuck that. Like, really what it means is are you serving everything and everybody? Is there triple wins in the actions that you're taking, right? Yeah, it's like, what do you get out of it? What do you give to somebody? And then in turn, we all benefit from that kind of a thing. And
right.
That's where I'm like nobody completely suffers in those situations. That's
yes.
That's where I'm always at. It's
is it ecological?
Yeah. Are you acting in a way that serves that need versus your personal or even somebody else's need, quote unquote? Are you too sacrificial of yourself in order to provide something to somebody? That's not being of maximum service, right? Yes, that kind of stuff too. So and I guess the other thing I have highlighted later in your chapter is which I get. There's a Joseph Campbell. We've talked about him in the past, and if anybody's ever interested to go look him up, he had this documentary, and in there he talks about living our lives. We kind of called to participate with the divine, you know, and that's kind of what you say here is you say you are collaborating with the Spirit and you show others that it is okay for them to be the main character in their own lives too, et cetera, right? Which is kind of like the thing. It's like, you know the difference, which is really weird. Intuitively, you know the difference whether you are acting from a point of selfishness or a point of maximum service in this kind of in this weird area. Did you find it hard to go from? I know it did for me too, by the way. Early on, like it was all about me. I just wanted accolades, right? Like, so did you find did you find you had a transition period, or did you kind of like move right away into like the, after you're begging the universe to show you the way, like did you move right away into like being a maximum service, or did you have issue with still operating from a point of self? Is that question too long?
Oh, yeah. I think it's constantly evolving, I mean, I think it's been a very slow evolution up the educational variety, as William James has said. Yeah, I think I still struggle with that every day. I just find that the more that I give in this moment and the more that I don't try to define and have an actual clear cut. I do a lot of different things. And I think sometimes I struggle with so I call this the Christmas party conundrum. Like we all want to have something to say at the Christmas party for what we're doing with our lives, like growing up, it was so nice to be able to I'm in school. What's your major? Psychology. End of conversation. Right. And now for the past 8 to 10 years or so, it's not really a clear-cut answer. And I have struggled with that, and other people struggle with that too, because it compromises their mental model of how you fit into the ecosystem, how they fit in. So all of that to say, when you sit down and think, what is my purpose? It doesn't have to be this complete, I am a firefighter in this district and I save lives and I'm a hero. I don't know if does that make sense?
Good on you if that's what your thing is.
No, and there's nothing wrong with that. I prayed to have one thing that I could focus on. And I still sometimes I'm like, I was just thinking about it today. I'm like, what am I even doing? I don't even know. I wouldn't even be able to answer what my main mission is. Yeah, it's being of service to others. How am I doing that? And I'm constantly questioning if I'm doing that the right way, if I'm spending my time wisely. It's a lot. I'm very much in that right now, which is why I wanted to have this conversation.
Which is, by the way, I think it's really a healthy thing to do as long as to not define and you can stay broad or whatever, as long as you're continually questioning, am I doing the right thing? We all go through transitions and, I'm going through so many transitions in the last 2 years. It's not even fun.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the thing is I try to look at, I've relaxed on going to meetings. I've relaxed on getting into 12-step, kind of land. And so I have looked at, doing improv stuff or, focusing on my freelance or whatever. I still find areas within working with my clients or working or going to improv or doing extracurricular stuff. Okay, I try to realize I'm being pulled in these directions because this is where the universe is putting me. So how can I be of maximum service in this environment that I'm currently in? It doesn't always have to be recovery. It doesn't always have to be work. It doesn't always have to be, whatever, family or whatever. It is whatever you're being pulled in to do, there's where your task lies. That's where you're being called. And we tend to, we talk about in 12-step land, trying to know our, what is the difference between our will and our higher power's will or the universe's will or God, whatever you want to call it. By the way, I had this conversation with my therapist too, really beautiful conversation with my therapist about spirituality, definitions of God, definitions of universe, and all this other stuff. It's really interesting, good stuff. But anyway, so I don't care what you call it. The fact is that you will intuitively know like where you're being called, and you'll know what's bullshit.
Yeah.
I believe that full on. Like once you're again, but you have to be sober and to do it. And not only that, you have to be sober probably for an extended period of time so that you can kind of, know what the new normal is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the hardest part for anybody in recovery. And then your understanding as you go get decades worth of sobriety or two, double-digit sobriety, you really start to redefine. I know I'm finding that. Like, I really start to redefine, what does that mean to be involved in helping others, in recovery, in my purpose, and, da-da-da. I mean, it will always adapt and change. So I think that your point of view there is really good, as long as it's like, the minute I say, I know what my fucking purpose is,
right.
I know I fucked it up.
Right.
Right? Like, so,
right.
So it's like, because it's always changing, it's always adapting, and I should be focused on what am I currently being, and again, we just talked about this just like fucking 10 minutes ago, like living just for today. To understand what that really means is hard, because it's like, I want to step in and,
of course.
Like, I know what tomorrow's gonna bring. I know next Friday. 3 months from now, I'm gonna have X done. And it never
I want
goes
a
the way you think.
blueprint. I want a blueprint. I want a map, and that's where I struggle, because I live in this very visionary brain and soul, and have all of these ideas, and then at the same time, am I setting objectives that are getting me to those places? And that's where I struggle, because I'm like, what if my objectives change? Like, should I be having these benchmarks of 1 month, 2 month, 3 month? It's, and that's kind of where I'm like balancing the logic with the dream.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I did the same thing. Even in early recovery, I would talk to my first sponsor and I would ask him, like, I go on the internet and I'd look around. I go, by 3 or 6 months, I should be feeling and doing these things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like whatever those things were. I should be feeling more stable. I should be more accomplished in my job. I should be moving further along in the step work, whatever it was that I was doing. And he was just like straight out. He's like, dude, like there is no time frame, so stop that shit. Like there is just no like ability to be able to. Like, he's just, and even with recently with John and my sponsor and him dying, I thought, oh, it's been a year. I should be over the grief, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like, I said this to my therapist, and she's like, yeah, no. Like, it's just like, dude, like you talk to this man how many hours in a week, and really, like, he's a guiding force in your recovery in your life and help you measure, how you're going to move forward. Like, dude, no wonder you feel rudderless, or no wonder you feel grief, or no wonder when good things happen you cry because you just want to call him and tell him that you got the job or whatever. Yeah. Right? So there's no time frames for any of this stuff. But what there really is like that that acceptance. I think you even say it later in your chapter about like, like the one thing that you can do is try to make room for your voice, try to continue to reinforce who you really want to be, regardless of what you feel like the time should be, right? Because that's kind of what you're doing. And then, the other thing is like to not regress into our old patterns of behaviors, because that's really, for me, that's where all this shit, like, when we're talking about, your purpose and all this other stuff, it's like how easy it is to go slip into that old fucking suit and just say fuck it, be negative, be negating any kind of positive influence, and go back into my negativity realms and be like fuck you and fuck them and fuck it all and who cares, and the next thing you know, it's like I'm like, hey, the liquor store looks pretty interesting, it's like you just
exactly
you move into a whole different frame of mind,
right?
Real super easy though. You could easily, sometimes you do it for a day, sometimes a couple months, it's like you're like, fuck, I can't believe I made it through that phase of me being super shitty and negative and whatever. That's where I don't know. It's like that's where all the training that you go through in recovery and all the repetition and all the other bullshit really does help, because it's like you're able to fight it and kind of pull back in. That's where all the therapy appointments matter. That's where all the worksheets about fucking reframing my thinking and like all the other bullshit that I did up front
Truly
really pays off. So what do you think about it? I was talking too much. So what do you think? How do you when you start getting into your negativity and your old self and putting on that old suit, how do you pull yourself out? Like, what do you do?
I binge watch The Handmaid's Tale.
I get into more process addictions is what I do. I actually, well, again, I was just part of my stand-up routines is like I'm lining up Oreos on the kitchen counter, snorting them like freaking cocaine. What are you talking about? Like, I'm totally doing, dude. I'm shitting black Oreos for fucking days because I have like been binging on Oreos and Netflix. I get it.
What's changed recently is I've given myself a lot more forgiveness and grace it's like, okay, I feel that way. And, it's fine. It's fine. Because
I'm just a little bitch.
You said it, not me. So I just let myself feel those things. And I usually try to take opposite action and go to a meeting, or like meetings and yoga have saved my life. If I were to pick two things, and it's just like you said, the consistency, and it's like, oh, this does matter. Those are my anchors. And if I can just have those safe spaces, and sometimes I don't go, and sometimes I stay in bed, and that's fine. Like I don't have to overanalyze everything anymore, and just really can try to stay in the day and take life less seriously. Like it's not that, whatever's I'm upset about is not that important. Like going outside and just experiencing life and being in nature, that these aren't any groundbreaking things that we haven't heard a million times before, but that truly is what helps me, like going back to the basics and just simplicity, or going for a walk, or I wish I had something more profound to say, but it's really basic things that help me get out of that.
Who do you look to? Who do you admire? Or like who? For me, there was somebody early on that really kind of helped me define like how I saw myself being in the world. Like, when you start taking on that new identity in recovery, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be like this, I want to be this other person. And I just need to be that. Like, is there anybody like that for you?
I don't know if there's one person.
Yeah, no, but
there's qualities.
Yeah. What are they?
Just a sense of peace and calm and presence, no matter what's going on in your life. Like I want to be that person for people that I could have a million things going on in my head, but if they need me, I can sit down and they're the only person in the world in that moment, and I can hold space for them.
Why?
Why?
Yeah. I asked why, God damn it.
Why do I want that quality?
Yeah. What about that is
appealing?
Like what is it, the thing that says, all right, like that's what I want. Why do you want that? What does that represent for you?
Because I believe that is my purpose in whatever way, is to hold space for people for whatever they're going through, big or small, and to help them feel this level of freedom that I feel now. And whether, for me, a lot of it comes through sharing my story. Maybe they don't want to share their story on the level I have, but it's so important for me. I just want people to feel heard and loved and acknowledged, because I think everybody's worth that. And so that's why it matters.
And because
to me.
Ultimately you think you're worth that and that you deserve that as well, right? Is like, that's kind of part of it, right?
Yes. And I didn't get that. I didn't get that.
Yeah. And I didn't get that either. So that's probably why we're both sitting here on a podcast.
And that's why I think, when I was logging on to this, I'm like, I love this. Like, this is one of my favorite things that I do. And I think it's because of the quality time. Like, my love language is quality time and words of affirmation, because I'm a Leo, and just tell me, like, flattery's a sucker for flattery and admiration.
And I will drown you in the river because I'm a Scorpio. So that's really about it.
Exactly. So maybe that's why. But truly, you listen and you hear me, and that is... And I do my best.
I really
to
try,
listen
by the way, Lindsey. I really
you.
try to hear it, but
You do, and
I
so
know I fall short. So.
I think we give the things that, when I write my book or speak, sometimes I feel like I'm telling myself what I needed to hear, or what I needed to read, and you probably do the same. And so
I did exactly all that stuff. That's what my book's about, really.
Yeah.
More or less, it was like, I want to tell you, but more or less, I need to tell me. And it's both. It's one and the same. It's like
Isn't that beautiful?
It's just human truth, right? It's like whatever I've perceived as human truth, I want you to know what I know. And feel what I feel. And if I can do that, great. It's like, because you can do the same to me, and we can speak the same language, and then we connect, and then we grow, and blah blah blah. So yeah, that's really what it's about. So then in those qualities, like, so one of the things I understood, like, somebody asked me once, like, actually I filled out a photography questionnaire, and it asked me, like, what's one thing you covet, and I didn't understand what covet meant, and then and then I had to go look up covet, and then it said, like, what's something that somebody else has that you want, and at the time I was like, oh, I want a classic car. And then we were on a podcast, like, 8 years ago, and my friend has asked me, like, well, like, what does having a classic car represent to you? And that's why I was asking you what that calmness represents, because it's the same thing. Because a classic car to me represents, like, you have financial stability. It means you have the extra income to have a classic car. 2, you probably have the time to work on it, because, like, and then so money,
freedom,
and time, and freedom, right? Yeah,
taste, good taste.
Yeah, and stability, right? Like, a lot of that goes along.
That's so interesting. Yeah, what's the deeper value?
Yeah. So then I had a dude that I looked up to early on. I found him on YouTube, and I totally, like, he's also referenced in the book somewhere, and I talk about him when I say, maybe you should hand out flowers somewhere in Austin, Texas, or something like that on your motorcycle. And that's what this dude did. He, like, would run around, and he'd, like, give people flowers, and he'd just, like, brighten their days and just do weird shit and, just be helpful and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And the way he connected with people just on an average, everyday, extroverted way, like, I have totally embraced that, and I love doing that today. Like, I can love, like, I can pass somebody and engage in whatever conversation.
Me too.
And just, like, suddenly we're talking and whatever, and it's beautiful shit. So his qualities, the way he carried himself, the way he engaged with other people, the way he made other people laugh and sometimes cry, like, I appreciated all that shit. And I'll tell you, like, that is the thing that, like, I really enjoyed about watching somebody else in the world. And I was like, I want to be more like that. I want to be that person. And by the way, maybe for this episode, I'll steal the audio that he did. He did his own video. Maybe I'll steal the audio, because I sent him a letter, and he read it on his video YouTube channel or whatever. And it's really touching. And it's just so true.
I'm glad that I stopped here, because I've been carrying something in my jacket for a while now. It's actually up on my wall, and then I put it in my jacket, and I wanted to read it to y'all. Oh, I need my glasses. My camouflaged readers. I get a lot of letters. I get a lot of mail in my P.O. box that is just phenomenal. It's stuff that is inspiring, hilarious, thoughtful. A comment that I get a lot is, I wish the world could be more like you. The reality is the world is a lot like we are. We all want to help. We all want to give. It's just really incredible, y'all. It's just, I'm going to read this. Dear Scott, a.k.a. also known as Uncle Mullet, my name is Carl, and I started watching your videos a few months ago. Each one has been a treasure and a joy. You never fail to put a smile on my face or a tear in my eye. Thank you, Carl. It's what I like to do. I like to build up and then just... I was happy, then depressed, but then happy again. I don't know. Your compassion and zeal for life is inspiriting and inspiring. It's really cool. I like the way Carl writes. I like the way Carl talks. At 42 years old, on August 22nd, 2014, I found myself that evening at my computer once again, and I desperately wanted to stop drinking. I drank daily, and I tried for years to stop, and at one point I stopped for 5 whole days. But August, that evening, I was drunk yet again, and I strongly considered taking my own life. I felt broken and defective. As a father of 4, a husband with a loving wife, a good career, money, etc., I had everything to live for, but I'd become trapped in a bottle for a long time and was feeling guilty and ashamed of what I'd become. I wanted out any way I could, but I couldn't seem to ask for help. I broke down that night. I cried hard, and I followed that up with a foxhole prayer. Afterwards, I was able to ask for help on a web forum, and I found other people who had found a way out. I typed, read, listened, I followed their advice, and I've been free from alcohol since August 23rd, 2014. Which brings me to you. How does Uncle Mullet fit into this, you ask? Well, I wanted to share the story above because in getting sober, I've discovered a few things. I have a desire to give back, to be kind, to be loving, feel connected with others, and to be open with my own heart. To smile publicly, to smile without fear. Carl is referencing a short story that I wrote, and I put a link in there, and he followed it. That's really cool. You are a shining example of all those things, and when I grow up, I want to be more like you. After I sobered up, I saw that I'd not only lost my spirit, but I also feel like I'd lost myself along the way. As I look to redefine my character and grow up and look for my purpose, I can't help but think of you and what a fine example you are. So thank you so much for being you. Please feel free to share this with your viewers, and if you could help to encourage a few paths to freedom for someone, anyone, struggling with alcoholism or addiction. We're going to list those right now. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, you can see it right here on the screen. Alcoholics Anonymous, and apparently a really awesome group also at reddit.com/stop drinking. There's the link as well. P.S. I just saw your video on the website and the wooden nickels. What a wonderful idea, and I can't wait to order mine. Again, thank you so much for what you're doing. And if you're ever in Southern California and need anything at all, please feel free to contact me. This letter has been on the wall of my office since the end of February. And a couple of things. Carl inspires me. Life isn't easy, we all know that. But when I read something like this, there are survivors out there. Some of us have been through some crazy, hard, rough patches, but we made it through. And we didn't just make it through, we could offer our hand to someone else and help pull them out. So Carl, I want to be more like you, brother. I want to... We all end up kind of inspiring each other and encouraging each other, so it's good stuff.
Not all of us have the ability to put our feet in someone else's shoes. Sometimes our compassion and understanding is limited to the perimeter of our experiences. So if you haven't had any direct experiences with somebody struggling with addiction, or if you yourself haven't struggled, then it's not going to make sense. I guess what I'm really trying to say is, don't be afraid to, because you got to make mistakes. You have to make mistakes. The act of walking, we had to learn that through a series of mistakes. We had to fall down. We had to scratch our knees. We had to wobble, bonk our heads. And it's the same way in life. And it's that journey of love. It's not going to be perfect. We don't have to be. Just be good to one another. Live to write another day.
I think maybe when we talk about purpose and purposelessness and blah, 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 you know, it took me a long time. I want to say I was like maybe 3 or 4 years sober before, maybe 3 years. I don't even know. Like when I wrote him, I was like, I don't know what you're doing, but I like it. Right.
Right.
Like, I don't, yeah.
Right.
Like, you know, I just want you to know that, like, I love watching you, and I love feeling what you're making me feel, whatever that is, right?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
but it was hard for me to really step into being that person that I wanted to be, and it took a while. And like I think you point to it, it's like it takes a lot of persistence. It takes a lot of being consistent. And so wherever you're getting that vibe or that feeling, and it could be from your, a mentor in your neighborhood, it could be from your sponsor, it could be from your friends in meetings or your therapist or whatever it is. Like that's what I hope people like get out of listening to this, is to understand that like, it takes time to get your head on straight, stay sober, lean into the recovery tools, the therapy, and it takes crying in the car, it takes crying on your pillow, it takes
a lot of crying,
in the shower, so because nobody can tell when you're in the shower. Am I right? Right, Lindsey? By the way, I say that so willingly, like I'm over here being the machismo dude, and you're like, I don't cry. My name is Lindsey.
Oh, I cry all the time. It's like if we're talking about how we spend like pastimes and hobbies, and the amount of time, that could probably be one of my top 10 hobbies. If we're talking about what we spend our time on.
And some newcomers would listen to that and go like, what are you talking about, you little bitches? Like, you guys got 10, 11 years sober.
Listen,
like, what do you mean you cry?
We were given those emotions for some reason. Like, we laugh. I always, when people say sorry for crying, I'm saying, why are you saying sorry? You don't say sorry for laughing. Like, there's not blood coming out of your eyes.
Sorry for laughing.
Like, well, yeah. But, it's not something like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, there's not blood squirting out of your face that you have to apologize for. Like, this is a human emotion you're having. Why would you ever apologize for that?
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
Totally. I do say sorry for crying still, because I feel like I don't deserve, like
I know you. We have talked about this before.
Yeah. So it does happen. So so Lindsey, what would you tell the newcomer or the person new in recovery or just getting their feet kind of planted? How would you tell them how to handle their the desire for purpose, and that's probably inside them, because it just happens. It just comes through. Any length of sobriety, I don't care if you're doing step work or not, or I don't care if you're just living your life just sober. The fact is like it comes up. Like, it's a natural, innate desire that comes up of like, oh, I need to do better than what I'm doing. I need to, like, it just comes up. And then the other side of that coin is, how do you deal with like not having that desire? How do you deal with when there's the opposite of that comes up, and you just want to crawl in bed and eat Oreo cookies and shit dark chocolate
and binge Handmaid's Tale. Well, I would say either of those, I think, are two sides of the same coin and are indicators of something awry. So whether it's this questioning of your purpose or that despair and depression that you talk about, there's discomfort for a reason, and that's showing us something. And so, like I say in my book, if you're wondering what if there's something higher for you, then that is your sign that there is, right? Like, thank God we question ourselves about our purpose, or why would any of us be motivated to do anything? And it's like the hierarchy of needs that we talk about. Like, once our needs are met, then we feel this pull to do something more and to self-actualize and to serve. And that's why we, as humans, accomplish and achieve these great things. So I would just tell that person that this isn't a problem. It's not a siren going off. There's no crisis. It's an indicator. All emotions are indicators. And so what are we going to do with that guidepost, and how? And you don't need to know that today, but just noticing that it's there, and then trying to open yourself up to the input that the world around you gives on what your next step is. Not the whole staircase, but just what's the next step.
What is the next indicated step?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think what you say there is like to be open for it, to listen for it, and to not. It's so funny. People talk about 12-step recovery all the time. Like I hear people say this shit in meetings, like, I know what God's will is for me, and I'm like, are you fucking insane? That's what goes off in my head when I hear somebody say that. I am like, fuck it. You telling me you know what the divine will of God is? I mean, okay, great. Like, you by all means go for it. And some people will say, well, it points me to the Bible or whatever. Fine, you go ahead and quote that stuff. But what I'm saying is, like, intuitively in my heart and in my mind, I don't know, right? But what I am willing to have that daily conversation of what it means to be involved with the divine. So when I hear it, I feel pulled for it. I feel guided by it. And then at that point, I still don't know that I know, but what I do know is that, like, as I move through it, it works itself out, right? It's like it becomes that way. Only in looking back, only in retrospect do I understand, like, oh yeah, I was operating that way. And it worked out in that way. But a lot of times it's really just about being in the moment to understand what's going on and be willing to
Absolutely.
listen. Like, is this happening or not? I'm like, okay, I'll do it. Whatever feels right in that moment. It's very, but you have to, again, it's not whatever feels right, meaning like, I want to have sex with my neighbor. It's not that kind of feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I and maybe this sounds backwards to people, or maybe it's exactly what you need to hear. It's easier for me to figure out what God's will isn't for me than it is. So let's start there. Yeah, God's will is not for me to drink.
Yeah,
myself.
Apparently there's some real big red flags about what God does not want me to do.
Right? I don't believe that was God's will for me.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless, if it was, then this is all a mistake. And
staying on the topic of purposelessness, that's like, how true of a statement is that, right? Like, that's really about it. Like, purposelessness, it's like, I'm not supposed to drink. I'm not supposed to lie. I'm not supposed to cause people pain. I'm not supposed, you know what I mean? I'm not supposed to cause chaos.
So let's first try to take away the things that we know, and I talk about this in my book. Like, let's start with the process of elimination. Like, I know we all kind of know what we ought to not be doing. Yeah. And I truly believe that then clears space for the answers to come. I know that if I take a drink today, that cuts off all of this. I'm not asking about purpose. That's why I drank. So I didn't have to ask about purpose. So I didn't have to think about it. That cuts off any chance of me feeling that peace that I'm talking about.
There's a reading in my book, and it talks about, like, a lot of the times we feel like we need to be additive to our lives in order to, I'm not happy, I need to add this. So, like, it's like, well, wait a minute, like, you might be more happy if you take away certain things versus adding certain things. So it might be about removing versus adding.
Yes.
So there's that too.
And that's why shed in my book comes pretty early on as the third phase.
Oh, you talk about your book. I'm going to talk about my book again.
Well, I think we have to unlearn a lot of things.
True that. No, 42 years of bad habits and acquiring, and like all the things that I thought how life was supposed to be, it didn't work out. Like, it literally became like I shouldn't be doing a lot of things, So, I mean, I don't want to talk about, being naked and with a bowl of Jello. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't. I know I don't want to talk.
I
about
feel
that.
like that's your purpose is to, like, guide the conversation towards that as close as you can get.
As close as I can get to telling everybody about what it's like to be naked on a hot summer's night in Southern California with the windows open, eating a bowl of green Jello.
What happened to the Oreos?
Well, they're a little
What
rough
flavor
when you get
Jello?
involved.
That's important. What
Green.
flavor
I said
Jell-O?
green Jello. It's green.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. Details.
It's all the details. All right, Lindsey. I think we've beat this.
We've sufficiently confused our listeners. Okay.
No, I mean, I don't know. What I would love is to hear people's comments and likes
sure.
and subscribes. And if they want to comment on the YouTubes, go to the YouTube and comment. By the way, if you're not aware, we do have this on YouTube as well, so you can go there to see the podcast. You can also go to the website and blah 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 blahs and blah. Oh, Spotify, it's all in video now too. So wow, check us out.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, and then don't forget to look for new things coming from us soon, like we mentioned in the last episode about SoberPod Connect. So we're going to be taking a break, and during that little break, I'm going to try and generate all that and step it up and make sure that I can try and connect people and see how fun that works out. So look for that stuff soon. Please visit soberpod.com and do all that good stuff. Lindsey, what do you want to tell the wonderful? Do you have anything coming up? Do you have any issues or not issues? Do you have any? Not issues. Do you have any,
another 46
sessions?
minutes?
I meant sessions, not issues. My brain.
You know what? For once, I don't really
Oh.
have anything because I'm going to be traveling, which is why we're taking a break. So,
Awesome.
yeah. So I'm good for now. I'm sure there's something later on this year, but for
So go
now,
check out Lindsey's site at thespiritvigilante.com if you are localized in Washington D.C. area.
Yeah.
So you can go check her out.
the
And,
DMV.
if you're in the DMV, it just sounds like the DMZ. So again,
I know.
demilitarized zone. All right.
Yeah. Gilead.
All right, yo. So what do you say to the kind, loving,
right.
vivacious, beautiful people?
I say, trust your truth.
And I say, stay active, stay sober, call your mother.
See ya. Don't call your mother.
Or don't call your mother, man, in my case. See ya.
Soberpod.com. Yeah. It was a sight to see them. Breakfast with Sprite and Seagrams. Wrestling with my vices, exercising my demons. My blessings were blocked, so I never got the message. I'm stressing. I'm only 12 steps from an exit. Regret it, because my imperfections were perfected. I ain't run from it, I accept it and rep it. It's a badge to me. Good stories come from a tragedy. And when you survive, the glory will come in Act 3. The wait's over. 366 days sober. Morning affirmations that can start the day for you. Use my favorite bookmark for a placeholder. Finish when the day's over. Okay. Yeah, sober pod, keep it authentic, no facades. If it's real, then you know it's ours. Welcome.